today's lesson, we're going to be talking about the dreaded bar chord. So before we get going, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications so that anytime I put up a video, you're notified that there's a new video. Okay, the dreaded bar chord. Here we go. So a few things to keep in mind. With the bar chord, what makes it kind of tricky is that you're doing two things at once, essentially, because here you've got rounded fingers. Like for example, if I do an F bar chord, you've got rounded fingers that are playing on the fingertips, right? But then you've got this other finger, this index finger that's completely flat against all the strings. That combination right there makes it really tricky to sort of get used to doing bar chords. In addition to that, the further you are away from the body of the guitar, the further out you go, the more difficult the bar chord is, especially if you're across all 6 strings. There's several reasons for that I've encountered. For me, it's that as my arm extends away from my body, it gets harder to sort of use grip and press down. Whereas the closer I am to my body, it's easier for me to do a bar chord, right? Also, the frets are smaller, and I find it's easier to press down on the strings. There's not so much tension in this arena, in this area, as there is over here at the beginning, or should we say away from the body of the guitar. So there's 4 basic, let me go over here, 4 basic bar chords that you should really be aware of at the beginning. And that's a major bar chord from the 6th string, a minor bar chord from the 6th string, a major bar chord from the 5th string, and a minor bar chord from the 5th string. Obviously there's a ton more, but once you can sort of master those 4, everything else sort of comes along. Okay, so there's a lot of ways we can go about this. Many people just start doing one of the hardest ones, which is that F. I always advise coming up here closer, maybe doing a B here on the 7th fret. Because like I said before, the further your arm is away from your body, the harder it is for you to grip down. And you're going to need that grip. So in addition to that, your thumb is going to be a big assistant to how well you press down on the guitar. And my thumb, let me see if I can show you, is going to be completely vertical to the neck, and hidden behind the neck. If you bring your thumb up, if you can see that, so I'm pretty much vertical to the neck. If you bring your thumb up and over the neck, you won't have any strength to do this bar chord. So you want to bring it down behind the neck, and it's going to look like you're kind of holding maybe a pita sandwich. Yeah, like that. Yeah, isn't that lovely? So again, to get that good grip, you're sort of doing this, right? You've got some of those bent fingers and you have a flat chord and your thumb is vertical to the neck, hidden behind the neck. Again, you bring it over, you've got no power to do that bar chord. So the power rests in the thumb resting behind the neck. Okay, so again, if you come up close, and let's say you've got your index finger on the 7th fret, wrapped across all 6 strings. Then you've got your middle finger. We're going to put that on the 8th fret, 3rd string. Then I advise putting your ring finger on the, let me see, 7, 8, 9, 9th fret, 5th string. Now you can put your pinky right underneath it on the 9th fret, 4th string. And there you would have your B major chord. If you're comfortable there, then you can move it all the way backwards to try to get that F. And then that's tricky. But there's another method that I use that I find works even better than this. So put on an E chord. So the E chord is essentially the open 6th, middle finger, 2nd fret, 5th string, ring finger, 2nd fret, 4th string, index finger, 1st fret, 3rd string, and open 2nd, open 1st. There's your E chord. Now, instead of playing it with these fingers, play it with your last 3 fingers. Switch them out. So instead of the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, that chord's going to be played with your middle finger, your ring finger, and your pinky. You following me? So your middle finger is going to be on the 1st fret, 3rd string. Your ring finger is going to be on the 2nd fret, 5th string, and your pinky is going to be on the 2nd fret, 4th string. Now, move it up 1 fret. And now add your bar. That's right. So the bar is going to go across all 6 strings. It has to press down equally across all 6 strings. So again, if you do an E chord, replace it with the last 3 fingers, move it up 1 fret, and then add your bar across all strings, you'll find that's a much easier way to do a bar chord than starting with the bar and adding the fingers. You'll find that that method tends to get you there much faster. And it can work for the other chords. So if you did an E minor chord, which is typically middle finger, 2nd fret, 5th string, ring finger, 2nd fret, 4th string, everything else is open. Switch it out with the last 2 fingers, go up 1 fret, now add your bar, now you have an F minor chord. Same thing is true for the bar chords from the 5th string. So if you have an A major chord, a very cramped chord, some people like to put all 3 strings, some people like to flatten a finger. But let's say we're using 3 fingers, okay? So typically we would have the index finger, 2nd fret, 4th string, and then the middle finger underneath that, and the ring finger underneath that on the 2nd string. Switch it out with the last 3 fingers. Bring it up 1 fret. Oh, that's a cool flamenco chord. Now add your bar. This is the hardest of the bar chords, I find. But that's an easier way to get there rather than starting with a bar and then adding the fingers. Same thing for the minor chord from the 5th string. Put on an A minor chord, switch it out with the last 3 fingers, move it up 1 fret, add your bar. I find that works a lot better. Now, the other thing to keep in mind, what was I going to say? Something about the, the minor bar chord from the 6th string. Sometimes if I'm feeling I need a little extra support, I'll take my middle finger. No, I'm not flipping you off. I'll take my middle finger and I'll just put it on top of my index for a little extra support. Since I have an extra finger, I'll put it in there. The other part I forgot to mention is there might be a few variables as to why you're having such difficulty doing a bar chord on your guitar. It could be the size of your hands compared to the size of the guitar. It could be the size of the neck of the guitar. If you notice here, I'm playing a classical guitar, so we have a wider neck than, say, my acoustic guitar over here. The acoustic guitar has a thinner neck, and it's actually more challenging for my hands to play the acoustic guitar than it is the classical guitar because it's such a smaller neck. If you're on an electric guitar as well. The other variable might be the distance of the strings from your neck, so we call that the action. So if the string distance is really far or really high, you're going to really struggle with pressing down on those strings. And that might be one variable where you're really being challenged with playing a bar chord. So keep that in mind. If that's the case, then a few things you can do is you can either take it to a luthier or a guitar repair person and have them lower the bridge. So what they'll do is they'll take this out, they'll shave it down a little bit, and that'll bring the action down on the strings. They might even shave the nut, which is the white part here. And that'll bring the action down on the strings, but keep in mind it might make some buzzing sounds in your strings. It's not buzzing too bad here, but sometimes my guitar buzzes. But that'll make it a lot easier for you to press down, because sometimes if the strings are so far from the neck and you can't press down, that's something that needs to be remedied. Another solution is if you have a steel guitar like this one over here on my left, then you might want to think about getting silk and steel strings. This is like a nylon solution for an acoustic guitar. So what it is they're strings that are steel strings for the acoustic guitar, but they feel like nylon strings, so they're a lot easier to press down. So those might be some variables, so think about that. Is it your guitar? Is it the shape of your hands compared to the shape of your guitar? Is it the distance of the strings from the neck? Think about those things when you're trying to play a bar chord. Okay, that's basically it for bar chords. So the easiest way I find to get there is to play an open chord, switch out the fingers, move it up 1 fret, and then add the bar. Once you've practiced this and you really get used to just putting on the chord for its own sake, after you've gotten used to doing this technique, or this method I should say, then you're on your way to playing all the other chords on the guitar. The cool thing about bar chords is once you know one chord, you know a lot of them. F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, and so on and so forth. Same thing for the minor. F minor, F sharp minor, G minor, G sharp minor. Same thing for the chords on the 5th string, and it just keeps going. So it's a nice little thing, I'm not sure what the word is I'm looking for, that the guitar has that makes it cool. And one little thing that makes things easier, I guess you could say. All right, guys, that's it for me today. If you have any questions, leave some comments down below, and I'll get to them as I can. Have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Bye.